right? So when we talk about, let's go talking about values, which is who we are, right? What defines us. It helps us to direct every person on our team towards a common goal, because the company values is every employee is expected to honor that and take on that, right? Irrespective of what your personal values are. Anytime you're working in the name of a company, you become an actor for that company, right? And the company expects you to embody the values of the company. And that has to drive the decisions you make, irrespective of what your personal values are. For as long as you're representing the organization of value overrides your personal value, right? And if that does not work for you, you need to leave the company, because you're going to have problems, right? You become a drag to the company, right? So just as your personal values are things that make the decisions for you, every company decision needs to be based also on the company's values, right? So let's look at some examples of values. I just looked up examples of core values, right? And there's so many examples of core values, right? To help you and for you to be operational in your life, you need to bubble up, maybe about 5 of them that you hold dearly. Don't forget, sometimes these values they are head against one another. They oppose one another. So it's important to know your top, let's call it 5 values, which you will not compromise, right? So that if those values go against other values, you know which one will win. You have to decide what is yours. What do you regard as your top values? Because sometimes those values contest against one another. They are not necessarily parallel all the time. So it's good to know your top 5 values, so that that helps you making decision and carrying yourself, all right? So some people have integrity as a top value. Not everybody necessarily has integrity as a top value. It all depends on the kind of business you are in. Some people it's not, but most people in business it is, because that helps you your interactions. But it's not necessarily true for everyone. The people that do all this timeshare thing don't carry integrity as a top value. It's not because they all they're about is selling you what they want to hypnotize you to buy. The integrity is not a top value for them in that sector, but you have to decide which one is for you as a person or your organization. Is boldness important to you? Is honesty important to you? Is trust important to you? Is being authentic important to you? Is accountability important to you, right? So is ownership important to you? Is customer? Do you take customers first? Not all business necessarily see their customers as first, So you have to ask yourself, who are you? Is that what works for you? Because that would affect you, when you're trying to make decisions, right? It's passion, a value for you. It's having fun, a passion, a value for you. Not everyone does. It's being humble. I was impressed and glad, when I saw these come up as one of the values for the church I presently attend, right? The Elevation Church, right? They have that as one of their values, that it's not a value where I was coming from, so it is a value here, and they teach it, is written in black, and they leave it, so I am excited about that. This continuous learning, constant improvement, leadership, diversity and inclusion, creativity and innovation. Not everybody carries that. Some people are stuck to the hold and can't move forward in their life. It has to be whole-time religion. You have to decide what works for you. It's quality, a value for you. Is working as a team, or is it that you want individuals to work? You got to decide what works for you. Is simplicity a value for you? You want things to be complex. Is safety a value for you, or you don't care about safety? Decisions you need to make. Who are you as an organization, as a person? that will decide that. Then we talk about purpose. Like we said, a personal purpose statement defines what you want to accomplish in life. So your purpose is, what do you want to accomplish in life? As an organization, your purpose is, what do you want your organization to accomplish? That's important. So when you decide that, it determines the direction you want to go. It reflects what you stand for, your goals and your core values. Obviously, there has to be congruency with all of that, right? And purpose helps organizations to define their reason for existing, right? Purpose, your reason for existence, right? A purpose statement defines what you want to accomplish in life. It gives you direction to accomplish what's important to you, as it reflects what you stand for, your goals and your core values, right? That's important. You need to know, what is it that you stand for as an organization, or is it that you stand for as a person? So let's look at examples of some personal core purposes. So on the left here, I have that for personal. On the right hand, I have examples of corporate, core purpose or core purpose statement. So on the left here, it says to motivate and inspire others to live a life where they are mentally and physically healthy and have peace and contention. That's someone's core purpose. Does that fit your billing? Do you have one written for yourself? You can take that example and write one for yourself, because it helps you. It helps you to put it in front of you every day. It will guide you. You will know what is for you, what is not for you. You will not be confused about your life. Another person says, I'm dedicated to working on behalf of children to bring them the resource they need for a healthy and prosperous present and future life. Another person says, to bring more convenient and functional technology to the world that will improve the quality of life. Another person says, to lead by example, personifying my values of kindness, forgiveness, compassion, empathy, and hard work. That's someone's core purpose. Someone else says, to bring joy to the world through music and lyrics that inspire. So you can imagine that's a musician. And someone says, I want to instill in others the self-love and confidence that gives them the self-efficacy to excel, right? Make their dreams come true. Wants to show himself or herself as an example. And lastly, we have someone who says to live each day to the fullest and appreciate, so as well as learn, grow from every experience. Great. So that's another person's core purpose. Question is, what is that for you? Right. We'll see some organizational ones here. 3M says to solve unsolved problems innovatively. So that's what drives them. Max says is to preserve and improve human life. Right. Mary Kay, though they do all the beauticians, but you see, none of that beautician is mentioned. It says all that they do is to give unlimited opportunities to women. What this thing says is to make people happy. Nike says experience the emotion of competition, winning and crushing competitors. Sonny says experience sheer joy of advancing and applying technology for the benefit of public. And for my own organization, it's simply changing lives. That's why we exist. For the business I have set up is to change lives. Which carries on from my personal core purpose, change lives. Because it's my company and I started it. So we have a congruency of core purposes. Question is, what do you have for yourself? Lastly, I'm just going to close here and look at some examples of people that pivoted, and why they did. YouTube, I was surprised. YouTube didn't start as YouTube. It was a dating site where users come and upload their videos. But today it's still for uploading videos, but not just a dating site. It's for everybody. They've grown beyond just dating, but it started with dating, right? PayPal, started with as a payment and script, service. It went on to people being able to make payments between apps. And finally, today is a full-blown web-based payment processor, But you see, all of these changes take place as people see threats to their business. They do the changes pretty much to stay ahead of the ball game to beat threats that they see. That's why people change. It's pretty much to beat the threats, right? And the threat to their business. They see the threat to their business and they pivot pretty much to stay ahead of that, and to stay in existence. So we'll see that with PayPal. We'll see that with Instagram, right? They've changed, to what they are today based on feedback they received, from the initial design they had. Same thing with Netflix, right? It used to be a DVD by mail service. I remember when they started, I was living in California then, I used to get their DVD by mail, but today they've stopped doing that. Everything now is online, I was looking for the right color in this yellow background, but not sure if this is the best one. I'm gonna try one more. I'm gonna try the black color if that will give us better view. Oh, I don't know. All right. So, Twitter also had the same thing, right? They started as pretty much to give access to podcasts, but when Apple came with iTunes, that was a threat to their business. They've since grown to become a micro-blogging platform. Western Union used to be just for telegrams, people telegramming, to making long distance telegram service, right? But with phones and more storms, that business pretty much wiped away. And today, Western Union has pivoted, into a money wired service, which it's doing them well. So people don't change for the sake of changing; they change for better. The change to better is the change is about getting better. You don't change for the sake of changing. You change to be better or to become more fulfilling of what your core ideology philosophy is, because it's not just profit, right? You're trying to meet whatever it is that you have set for yourself as a purpose, as a vision, as a goal, as a target, which then transforms into whether it's monetarily, or whatever indicators you've set for yourself, but it helps in being able to do that, to know who you are. You need to know what your core ideology is, what your core philosophy is, what your core values are, what your core purpose are, because you're trying then to preserve who you are while you are stimulating progress by pivoting. But that is done based, sitting on the core, the foundation of who you are as a person. All right, I hope that helps somebody out there. That's all I have for today. I'm going to shut down here. I don't have any of my people here, so I don't have any question to answer. All right, so I'm going to shut down here.